three, three, two. Anyway, yeah, everybody was all excited about when I said that I would tell some stories that my grandma told me um, that her great grandma told her, and her great grandma was literally on a Trail of Tears in 1838. 1838, 39. It was that summer. It was a long process to rape, kill, pillage, and kick motherfuckers off their land and burn them out, poison them. So yeah, it took them a little while to get rid of us because there was a lot of us back then. And like I was saying in my comment or in my thing is that my grandma, hey, check this out. This is kind of, I'll say this, it's fucked up, but it's true. Well, there's two things. It's a two-pronged. And the third thing is my grandma, I love her. I love her. She's, to me, all my dead family and shit, I talk to them. They're around. I don't even think about them as dead. Anyway, think that whatever you want, but I can do it. I don't know if I'm special for that or not. Anyway, my grandma, I mean, it's not like, oh, we want to know, we should, a little hall, none of that. You know what I mean. Anyway, listen. So my grandma wanted to know about some stories that she told me. Well, first of all, my grandma, what a strange thing about her was she was 100% Cherokee. And ever since she was 5 years old, she always had narcolepsy. And if you know what narcolepsy is, his name is from narcotics. That's the root word. And because she would nod out, she had always was tired. I think that's where I get it from. I swear to God. And I always tell people on my thing, if you guys think I'm slow, like I'm stoned or fucked up, put it on 1.5 speed and it'll be like faster. I've done it. Anyway, so she told me, first of all, that, oh, I know what I was going to say. She had narcolepsy, so she would fall asleep in the middle of a conversation, just like I do. I have it too. It's called narcolepsy. But I had, as a junkie, look, I was in college. I was a junkie, blah, blah, blah. My grandma, when I was like before college and everything, and so, or I went to community college, before I could go to state college. I went to CU in Denver. Anyway, so my grandma, I said, Grandma, can you loan me $5,000 so I could buy a car and I'll pay you back $100 a month? And if you do the math, she would be dead by then, of course. But because she was like 80 years old. She was pretty old. But she wrote the check. She was sure, boom. Wrote a check for $5,000. I'm like, you keep $5,000 in your checking account, Grandma? No, you gotta have a money guy. Put it. That needs to be collecting interest. You know what I mean? Point being, though, let me get more to. So that was kind of fucked up because she did had Alzheimer's. I called that she had Alzheimer's before the doctor 5 years before. However, I think dementia and Alzheimer's is merely being senile. And it's just maybe senile on steroids, kind of, like it's just being senile. That's what happens, right? So I don't even believe it. Anyway, my grandma, only me, when I was a baby, when she held me, I would shut up. I loved her for some reason when I was a kid. Anyway, she bought me this She lent me the $5 grand. I went and bought. This was in 1992. I bought a 1988 Jeep Cherokee. It was only 4 years old. Fucking bad. I wrapped it around a tree in the backyard at someone's house. Anyway, later, which sucked because I loved it. And anyway, so my grandma, my grandma was real lonely, and she for a while. But anyway, later she did meet a guy, and then she went on all these cruises and everything. It was really cool. And there's even more to that story I'll tell you, which will blow your mind. But she said, Brady, this is when I had my house cleaning business. In the day I clean houses, it was my own business. I fucking built it. I printed out my own cards or ordered them or however I did it at the time. I've owned 3 businesses in my life, like that I started. Anyway, it was a very successful business. I did a fucking bid for a job that I almost got that was like 10 grand a month to do this machine shop and stuff. Anyway, so I worked a lot and I made $30 an hour at least, like 50. Anyway, my grandma wanted to see me so much that she hired me to come there and clean her house. She lived one town over, but I had other other houses that I cleaned in that town. And I'm like, okay. She would, and so Randy, who was my friend's dad, we'd be all jacked up on heroin, and you can clean like a motherfucker when you're on opiates. I'm telling you. Anyway, so I'd be like, dude, just go clean. And me and my grandma would start going to photo out. She would start telling me all these stories. She showed me a picture of her great grandma that was on the trail too, with all of her kids, 7, before they got kicked off. They got kicked off from like Tennessee and somewhere else. I was just looking this up into Oklahoma, which is where I am. My thing is from my tribal registry card, and it's the Cherokee Nation, and it says it's in Oklahoma, Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And my grandma said that her grandma, the Trail of Tears, they started out, she said, it was like a whole year long. They had to walk. I mean, they walk. The United States is big. But they weren't very far west. But they walked a good couple 100 miles. A lot of them died. Not most, a lot. And it was just really fucked up because previous to that, they did that already to us. And we were like, fuck you, man, that's bullshit. You can't. First of all, we didn't understand that you can't. We thought the notion of owning, you know how if you said something stupid to me and I said something stupid and you believed me, I would say, yeah, and I have a bridge for sale too in San Francisco, like selling the Golden Gate Bridge. You know what I mean? It's like, are you that dumb? So the Indians are the Louisiana Purchase, I think it was, or maybe Manhattan or something. And the story goes that they took like $48 or something for it in trinkets or something. But the point is this: that's like the tick owning the dog or the flea owning the dog. It does not work that way. So, I mean, it actually is just stupid to think that. And so people thought that, of course, because they are stupid. And, you know, I forgot what I was talking about. I don't even understand the history. Oh, my grandma. So anyway, listen to this, you guys. My grandma wanted to see me so much to tell me, because I'm the one that she chose, I think, to pass down the information. Like, I guess. I mean, like, maybe as like a memory. She wasn't raised by wolves. She was a white lady looking. Her name was Juanita. Juanita Curtis. Brady. Her maiden name was Jackson, which the pile of land deeds that I have are Brady, which is one family, which I'm named after. And then Jackson, Brady and Jackson. I have a stack of both, and it's after they made a deal. This was the deal, right? I have all these land deeds, and it's like you're supposed to give me my land, motherfucker. Here's the deeds, and it's even like bearer bond deeds. Like this is worth its amount in whatever gold. It's like whoever has this, that's it. They own the land. But they did that, and they said, okay, if you guys do this, then we'll give you all these land deeds, right? And make sure you have your land that was yours always along. We just want our here. And we're like, okay. And so then, because Cherokee aren't really a warring tribe. I mean, we were badass, but not as badass as some of the other ones. Anyway, so they said they gave them all the land deeds, and they said this is your land, and we lived there for a while, years, and stuff, and got settled in, and blah blah blah. Then they came up through with torches, and then they said it's not. Nah, we take it back. That's where Indian giving comes from. That term. You're an Indian giver. If someone gives you something and takes it back, that's why it's called Indian giving. And it is. They Indian gave us it, and it's bullshit. They did the same thing to Texas, you guys, in the Constitution. The only reason it passed 51 to 49% was because Texas said, okay, we'll do it only if, because they first tried to do the Constitution without the Bill of Rights at all, right? Then everyone was like, it passed like 99, it lost like 99. So then they added the preamble to the Constitution, which is the Bill of Rights. And everyone, but it didn't have the Second Amendment in it, right? Everyone was like, 75% said no way. So then they put the guns in, and and anyway, you've already seen that it's been broken. And then we have a voluntary tax system that was temporary, and it still is. And people don't look it up; they just do it. Go look up the law that never was. They don't tell you about it. People go, Brady, why did they go to jail then for tax evasion? They go to prison like Al Capone if taxes are voluntary, because you signed the fucking paper volunteering 10%. When you sign that, if you never sign nothing, they cannot do shit to you. Okay? And it's every year, it's a renewed contract. So at any time, you can just say, I'm not going to give anything this year. I don't volunteer any of my income. And so you just don't sign anything, and you will not get in trouble for it. But the people that went to jail for it, like Al Capone, or other people that skirted the IRS, it's because they signed saying they'd pay it. The 1033 or whatever, if you're a salesman working for yourself, Or the other thing is they've got bosses. They give them incentives to make all their employees pay it. Instead, it's just no. You don't have to pay it. It's voluntary. So, and that's always been like that. Look it up. Anyway, so my grandma, she said that her grandma was about 5'5". She had 7 kids. She was obviously full Cherokee. Um, she had lost her husband, so she had to do the trek alone with 7 kids. Young, and not real. I'm sure they were helpful, but anyway, and then so they had to do the trek, and it wasn't like fun. It wasn't, not that wagon trains are fun, but they had a gun at a bayonet at their back. I mean, they escorted them and they murdered a lot of them, like kids. They would just shoot them right off their horse, and that is shut. They gave them blankets and smallpox. And, they really, if it spoiled me, they fucked us. You don't hear lots of crime reformations, like black people, and that didn't even happen to them. But the Indians had slaves, the Native Americans had slaves of other tribes. Like, if me and you are warring against one another, like going back and forth, Hatfield and McCoy style, you're going back and forth and stealing the horses, or maybe doing an attack and here and there, and they finally get you, they enslave you. And I'm not sure, they may have had to hobble them. I mean, I'm just being real. So they wouldn't escape. They probably hobbled their ass. Or they either cut their foot off, or they just busted the fuck. Also, they broke the wild horses. They broke them underwater. That's how they were under shallow, so like up to the horses' neck and back, I guess. And it couldn't really, if you got bucked up, it didn't hurt you. And it was harder for the horse to move and shit. The Native Americans broke the horses underwater in shallow ponds, somewhat shallow. That is genius, okay? My grandma, this was funny because she told me of her great grandma on the Trail of Tears. She said that her grandma told her of a time when there was no moon. She said there wasn't a moon for a long time, the moon didn't come back out. And you know, they said money moons from now, right? And right now, I wonder this. Does anyone have any answer to this? It used to go, the moon went from, like, say it was a full moon last night, say, for example, hypothetically. So last night's a full, or no, let's start with a half a moon. Let's say a moon is halfway full, okay? And you look at it, and seeing the moon in the daytime, I've seen that my whole life. Some people claim that they never saw that. And double rainbows, I always saw those. Anyway, damn it, what was I talking about? Has anyone ever fucking seen? I'm sorry, I can't say. Yeah, there's definitely some weird things going on with our weather. Anyway, yeah, so, oh, I know what I was talking about. My grandma, her grandma, or great grandma, which was on the trail in 2 years, by herself, no husband, 7 kids, only 3 of them made it back to the reservation. Or, yeah, they got kicked back to Oklahoma. It was, and they did it by at gunpoint. I mean, kids were dying, just dropping dead or getting shot. And, I mean, it was just so fucking inhumane and fucked up. Oh, it pisses me off so bad. Like, but then again, I mean, my grandma told me about it, so I have more credibility, I suppose. But I don't know what I was gonna say. I was eating milk, but it's alright. I know what it was. My grandma said there was no moon for like her great grandma during the Trail of Tears. There was no moon for several days, right? It just was gone. Right? And they're used to the fate of the moon. It wasn't the new moon. It just was gone for like months, even maybe 3 months. It was gone. The moon. She told me, and I said, like, here's something my grandma told me. I said, hey, grandma, do you think we ever did man ever land on the moon? And she started, she laughed and she said, no, honey. And then I go, do you think Oswald Vines was the lone shooter in the JFK assassination? She's like, of course. So, but the moons, absolutely not. It's not even, she's like, it's not even something that you can land on, according to what she was taught. And let's see, what else? Yeah, they talked about Sasquatch. It never really bothered them. They talked about portals. They did the spiral. That shit's been going on forever. And, and go look at the cave drawings. Then again, I think are all the cave drawings, did they get it all ready to set? It's like fucking job. It's like the Truman Show. They get it to set already. Okay, when he comes out the door, it's crazy, guys. I don't know what. My grandma told me about that. Oh, I need to know this. Please vote. Tell me. Make a comment. What the fuck is up with the moon? Okay? Here's what I was telling you. Say the moon is half full. Okay? Half. It's half. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And it gets to the full moon. And it's full for what? One day. It's like 2, 3 days, whatever, but one main day. And then for me, it used to just go the same way, and then it just got a slice less. It was a waxing and waning. It was less till it was gone. And that was the new moon. For 3 days, there was no moon. And then it starts as a sliver, and there's more and more until it's full again, right? That's how I remember it. That's how I was taught. Now, it doesn't do that. It goes, say, from half, right? It goes from half, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's a full moon for 3 days. And then there's no moon. and no moon at all for 3 days. And then slivers start showing up and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's full moon. Then literally the next night, it's it's no moon. There's no moon. Wait, and they're calling it, yeah, the new moon, like it was. And then it starts to get full again. I mean, is that new to you guys? Do you understand that? Anyway, please watch this and please comment. I really am tripping out on this shit, you guys. It's fucking insane. And whoever just quit, 2 people, that's not cool. I have a video for you. It's coming up next. I have a video in the comment, baby. Oh, Fred. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.